Welcome to the Tesla Power Podcast. This is the Tesla Energy community covering solar panels, solar roof, and Powerwall for your home. I'm Aaron Brady, and today let's talk about inverter diagnostics. Let's talk about when to place your solar order, and let's talk about some surprising news from LG Solar, and a lot more. Let's do it. As per usual, we'll kick off the pod with community input. You can participate in tons of ways. You can leave a comment below, link your YouTube videos. You can call 203-816-5150, or you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. You can, of course, record an unlisted video question in the YouTube app, send a link, and I'll put your video question in the show. First up, we've got a question from, or a comment anyway, from Jun Zhang. He's been working on his inverter issue with Tesla. Let's bring that full screen. He says, when you log into the inverter screen, it shows you the inverter and your Wi-Fi connection. And also, it'll show you something like AC volt and amp and DC something. And it keeps repeating. It says 1 out of 6 to 6 out of 6. I call Tesla and they tell me the inverter keeps doing its self-test, that the stage tests all have to pass, end quote. So this sounds like the inverter isn't passing its self-diagnostics. And when I look that up, it appears there's like a grounding issue that's failing the diagnostic test. And stuff like that can be pretty dangerous. So you're doing the right thing, waiting on Tesla to get out there. I mean, it sucks that you're going to have to wait 2 weeks. But I don't know. In the grand scheme of things, I think this will fade into the background. And, you know, the additional time will ultimately be inconsequential. You know, the life of this product is like 30 years. So, you know, what's 2 weeks out of 30 years? Waiting's the worst, though. I'm not saying this okay. You know, keep us posted on it, though. If you can find out what that actual issue is, the rest of us in the community would love to hear what corrected it. Next up, we've got Alpha Stages. They are asking about when is the right time to put in their solar order. Let's read it. Quote, hello, great video, very informative. I just purchased a house, but won't be fully moved in for a few months. It's a good idea to order, or is it a good idea to order solar panels with Powerwalls now because of the long wait? Or should I wait until I'm fully moved in, which would give me an accurate electric bill, assuming Tesla needs an electric bill ASAP, to decide how many solar panels I truly need? Thanks again. I look forward to more videos, end quote. And Nexusly had an interesting response to this. Let's bring that up. Nexusly says, the longer you wait, the better the equipment is like. They're making more efficient solar panels, and for Powerwalls, we may see a significant upgrade in the next year for capacity, like Powerwall 2 Plus is, 14 kilowatt hours. I would doubt they will up the capacity in the next 12 months to over 20 kilowatt hours. So do your research and check on other brands, the newest battery banks, because things are rapidly changing. You have to factor the federal tax credit in. It'll be gone next year, so a lot of equipment in the future will be full price, but you'll benefit from newer technology. Let's say, 10 to 25% more capacity and more efficient by 5 to 10%, end quote. And Nexusly isn't wrong. I mean, if I had waited just 6 months, I'd have a 20% higher producing solar roof. However, a more significant change over the next 2 years is going to be the price of batteries. They should come down as Tesla moves to LFP chemistries and ups their production. You know, the higher, what do you call it, economies of scale you get, the less you're going to be able to offer it. And they're already saying that they're going to cut their own costs by about 50%. But it's a tough call when it comes to new technology. You know, you can always wait and get better stuff, but you can't wait forever. Tesla allows you for sure to put in your order if your house isn't even built yet. I don't happen to know if you can do the same thing if you haven't yet moved into a house that's already built. So I would need to ask the community for input on this one. So if you've done that, if you have, Tesla Solar on your home that you haven't yet moved into, let us know what it was like going through that process, if there were any pitfalls doing it that way. But let's address the electric bill portion of this. This is just an estimate to help spec a system that'll roughly cover your needs without overpaying. There are tons of people, though. It doesn't matter what they're actually producing. They just want, or what they're actually using. They just want to go max solar. Whatever the most they can produce and put on their home, whatever they can fit on there, that's what they want to put on. And that'll depend on your jurisdiction. Like mine will only let me oversize the system by 20% of my usage, but if I haven't moved in yet, they don't know what my usage is. I have 6 electric cars. You didn't know it, right? But, this means that your electricity usage is kind of beside the point, right? Just purchase as much as you can afford. Sizing an electric system isn't an exact science anyway. The data is more a point of curiosity and a point of comparison. Every year you're going to use a little bit more, use a little bit less. Maybe your circumstances change. If you have more kids, you're going to use more electricity. If you get another electric car, you're going to use more electricity, and maybe you downsize. Maybe things, get way chill. Maybe your kids are going off to college, and maybe, they take some of your electric cars with them. So there's not really going to be anything that's a hard and fast rule for what you should install. If you're happy to go max solar ASAP, there's no benefit in waiting. Place that order now. But if you need to get a better idea of your usage before deciding on that system size, then, of course, you should wait. Move in, gather some data. But don't forget, and this is super important, if there's a grid down situation, you must have batteries to use your solar system. I recommend, basically, at a minimum, 2 batteries for everybody. And I would encourage you, honestly, to get as many as you can afford to support your own needs and to have battery capacity remaining to support your grid, especially if you have a residential demand response program. Honestly, though, even if you don't have one at the moment, I expect that demand response will become a part of every energy mix in the future. And it's likely that investing in the battery capacity now is going to pay off as those programs start to replace solar subsidies. Next up, we've got Dwight Adams. He wrote me an email this week sending over a copy of the latest version of Bill SB 1024 in Florida. Let's read his email. Hey, Aaron, attached is the latest bill. It starts the 20-year grandfather period on December 31st, 2023. I saw one source state that the solar penetration in Florida is about 1%. This is useful because the proposed law states that a solar penetration of 6.5% allows further changes before the target date of 2028. End quote. Now, I had a couple of immediate reactions to this. First, 20 years is shorter than nearly all generation lifespans. So I don't think that this 20-year grandfather period is long enough. The second thing, I can't believe the solar penetration in Florida is only 1%. Is that right? I mean, that seems crazy low to me. If you were to have to grow from 1% to 6.5% in 6 years, that implies an incredible growth rate, even for solar. More than 50% compounding annually over the next few years. But the point of this legislation is to curb net metering. But with only 1% penetration, I don't know, it just doesn't compute. I don't know. Dwight points out that Florida has a more monopolistic view on energy production than a state like Texas, right? Who basically has the polar opposite view that markets should be open to everybody. I guess this can help explain why Florida utilities are already trying to kill net metering, but let's not forget that net metering isn't a market force. This is an incentive for adoption. And straight up, at 1%, I would expect there's tons of runway to incentivize adoption at the moment for Florida anyway. So something tells me this isn't quite right. I don't know. Can we go on the interwebs and check this? Let's just do a quick exercise. There were a couple of resources that I found. This first one is essentially collating U.S. Census data. And here they show us for for the 2020 census. So these numbers aren't going to be exact. Single family homes. This census shows single family detached homes are about 3.8 million units totally. Those aren't the only units you can put solar on. It's a good start to get rough market penetration though. And then there's a second resource, electrekrate.com. Let me pull that one up for us. This has a nice round number we can use for residential solar installations. If we scroll down just a bit, I think it's right after this chart. They say, quote, there are over 90,000 solar installations in Florida. Most of these are residential solar systems. However, Florida also has large-scale solar farms to be proud of. I don't know. But the useful number, of course, is 90,000. So we're going to take that. And we're going to divide it by the 3.8 million to get an estimate. So 90,000 units divided by 3,800,000, right? So that gives us an estimated penetration of about 2.4% as of 2020. Now, regardless, Florida has been very slow to offer incentives, and the SEIA, that's the Solar Energy Industry Association, has a nice overview of the Florida new energy situation. They say, quote, sorry, it's right here. Florida's solar policies have lagged behind other states. It has no renewable portfolio standard and does not allow power purchase agreements, two policies that have driven investments in solar in other states. However, thanks to utility investments in clean energy and other recent developments, significant growth is on the horizon, end quote. I mean, encouraging to hear that grid will get greener. We would, of course, love to see residential solar get a bit of the boost, even if it's just on the battery portion of residential installs. I'm a huge fan of that. I don't know, 2.5% penetration residential solar, it's pretty low. Anyway, thanks to Jun Zhang, Alpha Stages, and Dwight Adams for your input. Let's hear from the rest of you. Send in your YouTube links, comment below, call 203-816-5150, or email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Let's take a quick break, right? When we come back, we'll get into some news. So Electrek reports on Tesla losing their director of home energy engineering. Let's bring that full screen so we can quote what they say. I'll scroll down a bit. While not at the top of the list of businesses Tesla is disrupting, the home backup generator is actually starting to be disrupted by the home battery packs industry, which is being dominated by the Tesla Powerwall. Instead of opting for a noisy, smelly, and polluting gas generator, many homeowners are choosing home battery packs for backup power. On top of that, batteries are more useful than gas generators when combined with rooftop solar power, end quote. Often these departures are framed as executive attrition because Tesla sucks, but the truth is probably more that other companies are offering a lot of money to get a jump start from the knowledge these Tesla employees have gained over the last 10 years. Also worth pointing out that when you leave Tesla, you don't leave your stock, right? So there's this guy you've probably run into, Farzad Mesbahi. He is a YouTuber. He left Tesla last fall, and he started a YouTube channel in his retirement. He didn't leave because Tesla sucks. He left because his work got him access to Tesla options that have now made him wealthy enough that he can self-actualize full-time. And I don't expect this is the story for most former employees, though. Like J.B. Straubel, for example, he left Tesla to head up a mission to recycle battery materials. And I guess in this case, it's a bit different if you leave Tesla to work for a competitor. So this guy's going to Generac. But I don't see this as a bad thing. The transition to renewable energy is way bigger than Tesla. And Generac is a huge generator company. And honestly, they've got to be looking to get into battery storage as their generator business probably sunsets over the next decade, right? So you can see why this is likely to happen. Cleaner, quieter, lower maintenance. Combine that with rooftop solar, you have a fabulous combination that's going to make generators really hard to compete with. So for Generac to acquire probably a solar installation or maybe even a solar cell manufacturer in the coming months, I think would make a lot of sense. Let's see if that happens. Prediction, anybody? All right, so Solar Power World reports on a bit of surprising news. Let's read this. Quote, after a February 22nd decision approved by the board of directors in South Korea, LG Electronics announced it will exit the global solar panel manufacturing business. The company cited increased material and logistics costs, as well as severe supply constraints, as the main reasons behind deciding to stop solar panel manufacturing, end quote. This is massively against trend. Super surprising to me. I would expect them to at least divest, right? Just wrap up that company into a form that somebody else would be interested in buying, maybe Generac. It just seems crazy to shut down the plant. They do note that they hope to share a, quote, groundbreaking development soon. And if it's a battery factory in the US of A, then all is forgiven. As we've discussed, solar isn't really the limiting factor at the moment. Battery storage is the limiting factor. And additional manufacturing capacity from LG would go a long way toward lifting that constraint. Next, we've got Green Building Elements. They give a review of Tesla Solar. And here are their pros and cons. Let's take it full screen and scroll all the way down to the very end of this thing. They go into a lot of detail, which is awesome. I highly recommend this, especially if you're looking for a Tesla Solar overview. Their pros: cheapest solar panels available, many different payment options, 25-year warranty, reduced carbon footprint, reduced power bills. And then, of course, their cons. We talk about this all the time. Lengthy customer service wait times, Powerwall is not available for individual purchase, end quote. And you know what? I don't even know if that last item is true. So let's go see if we can get a Powerwall on its own, without some solar. So if we go menu, yeah, Powerwall is here. And here, I see order now. Let's get us a Powerwall. Home address. Is it going to show us? Yeah, here we go. Well, that's close enough to me. I don't care. $400. Okay. Yeah, so this is taking us to the solar roof ordering page, which is high rent. We'll go to solar panels and save a little bit of money, but yeah, so I can remove Powerwalls, but I can't just order Powerwalls. So I guess they're right about that one. It's a little bit of a bummer, but not surprising, right? They're battery constrained. So I was able to go directly to the Powerwall page. But, whatever. The article is essentially the full sales pitch for Tesla Solar. There's a section I found particularly informative called Why Are They Cheaper Than Other Solar Panels? Let me bring that back up really quickly because that's worth taking a look at. So there are a few factors that allow Tesla to sell cheap solar panels. Quote, first, you can complete the process online. Other companies require you to contact several different people and have multiple surveys for your home or of your home. Tesla has a simple online process that saves you time and money. And they also say many other solar panel companies spend a lot of their funds on salespeople and advertising. Tesla, of course, doesn't need to do so as their brand and their name are already very well known, end quote. They give a couple of other reasons that I think are crap, but what I would add to those that I did read is that Tesla's scale is a significant contributor to their ability to offer solar and solar accessories, the full system at competitive prices. They make hundreds of thousands of inverters, soon to be millions of inverters, and they already make millions of battery cells every year, even with just their pilot line, and they're going to grow that, tremendously from there. The more they scale, the more affordable their products are going to become. And the fact that they already make these products for their cars just makes their scale that much larger and puts them, that much further ahead of everybody else. Anyway, that's the news for this episode. Let's take another quick break. When we come back, we'll take a quick look at production numbers and we'll wrap things up. All right, so let's take a look at production numbers, right? So I'm broadcasting from my phone. I just want to make sure that I've got the Tesla app up before I take it I bring this up on screen. So we did have some snow today, which is kind of crazy. We're already the second week of March, and it's still snowing. So we didn't generate very much today. We generated about 4 kilowatt hours. And you can see that the production curve is pretty choppy. If we go to yesterday, though, look at that gorgeous production curve. That's showing us, 46 kilowatt hours for the day. And it's only going to go up from here. The longer the days, the higher the sun gets, we're going to be able to get more of that back half of our roof producing. So I'm really, really excited to see how that goes. Of course, The days before that have been pretty choppy. We've had a lot of clouds in the area and some rain. So production hasn't been super amazing. But if we look at the brother-in-law's system, of course, it snowed today. He didn't make bupkis. 1.73, so half what we produced. But yesterday and a couple of other days this week, they were producing 60 kilowatt hours of electricity. That's friggin' monster. I'm really, really, really jealous. We'll catch up to their production, but they're going to stay ahead of us basically for the rest of the year until we start getting into the very short days in like November. Of course, we're coming up on a full year in March? Well, May is our first full month production. So that'll be our anniversary where we can do some comparisons year on year to their solar system and our solar roof and get an idea of how much Tesla expected us to produce and how much we actually produced. Those will be very, very interesting numbers to see. And I still don't have an update on PTO. I didn't call yesterday. I was expecting to call on Tuesday. I just didn't get to it. So shirking my responsibilities, but I will do that. I mean, obviously I need to do that because sooner we get PTO, the sooner I can realize some value on the net metering side of things. So I will follow up on PTO, I promise. But that will do it for episode 49 of the Tesla Power Podcast. Please use my referral code. You can save yourself $500 on a solar roof and $300 on solar panels. You can go to ts.la/Aaron62310 to place your order. And I'm Aaron Brady, your Tesla residential energy community organizer. Let's do this again on the next video.